You have no idea how much we had to fight for patients' survivals. It's not that they're lazy, who had their parents literally on oxygen and they would want to take the oxygen off because they thought we were giving them COVID. It's just that they just physically cannot get themselves to do it. You will die if you don't take the treatment. The system isn't working the way it would in an ideal person. I only recently realized that I actually got addicted to it as well. Yes, you get that dopamine, but everything else goes low and your cortisol goes low. Morbid obesity is real. It is a problem. There is a lot of people who have medical problems and unfortunately end up gaining weight and then they need help. And if they wanted to decline any of the treatment we were offering, we couldn't say no.
Thank you so much for stopping on the podcast. We really do appreciate you taking your time to spend some time with us. We have found that a lot of people who stop on the podcast aren't actually subscribed to us, and we really want to help the podcast grow to help more people's performance and well-being. Because at the end of the day, there are thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people out there who need to hear the messages that our top experts are speaking about. So if you could simply leave us a subscribe, leave us a follow, or even just leave a like and a comment, it would really help us grow and really get the podcast out to more people.
Welcome back to another episode of the PerformWell podcast. If you've got ADHD, if you've got problems with motivation, or you're sad sometimes, we have someone here to help you. This is the A&E Doctor, Fahad. Dr. Hassan, can we say that?
I think Fahad would be better.
Okay, Fahad it is.
It's hard.
Mate, it's a pleasure having you on board. Thanks very much for coming.
No, thank you for the invite.
Mate, I'm super excited to hear a little bit about, first of all, what it's like to be an A&E doctor, because, of course, we've got a lot to talk about today with ADHD, but first of all, how many times do you meet an A&E doctor?
Very rarely. I think
and if you meet him in a bad case,
it's bad.
Yeah.
You're in trouble. Talk to us a little bit about your job then. Go on, enlighten us.
Yeah, I've been pretty much doing A&E for about roughly 10 years now. I've been around, I would say, the world with it. Yeah, it's an alright job. There's good days, there's bad days. And it, really depends on your circumstances, because just like war, you don't know what's coming to you next.
True.
Yeah.
Very true.
It's a very stressful job from what I've heard.
Yeah.
And from what I've seen. But, what is like a typical day? What do you normally see when you're going in?
Yeah, well, because it's such a diverse sort of specialty, where we're technically jack of all trades. We're not really masters of anything, but we can treat anything and everything, or we have to, because you've arrived at our doorstep. So we have so if in a normal functional A&E in the UK, we have different areas where we treat different sort of emergencies, starting from the so you have minor injuries units where you have people with bruises like mine who would come in to get their
Can you zoom in on that?
bruises checked. And then we have a ambulatory area where people who walk in for their medical problems and get checked, mostly coughs, snuffles, things like that. Sometimes there are serious issues as well, where people underestimate their problems and they would walk in as well. And then we have a majors area where we have patients coming in from ambulances, or unwell patients who need to be on a stretcher or a bed for their assessment and management. And then comes I would say, most difficult part of our job, which is the resuscitation area. And that's where we treat major trauma, life support sort of management, resuscitation, and that sort of things.
I'm really interested to delve a little bit deeper into that, actually.
Yeah.
What is one of the kind of worst cases you've had of recent, if you're allowed to talk about it?
I don't know how much in depth I can go because of the confidentiality, but I think you think you've seen the worst, and then you see another patient and you're like, oh my God.
Really?
Yeah, I think one of the cases that's kind of stuck with me for in the last year and a half sort of time is a 18-year-old who decided to have some alcohol and then decided to go onto a e-scooter. Please don't do that. It never ends well. And then so he fell. Lucky for him, he was on slow speed, but the way he fell literally onto the handle. Ooh. Straight to his eye.
Oh my God. Jesus.
Went through his eye.
Well, it kind of it pushed it back, and he developed what we call is a retroorbital hematoma, where you develop blood behind your eye. So the blood vessels burst and you start getting pressure into your eye, and your eye kind of starts popping out.
How the hell does that even happen? How do you fall on the handle like that?
It's quite impressive, actually, in some regards.
And unfortunately, it's an injury that you can very easily get, and if you don't get treated timely, you lose your eyesight.
Did he lose his eyesight in the end or not?
But until I had followed him up, he wasn't able to see through that eye. But for me, the most difficult thing was we had to make a decision there and then where we do a little cut on the side of the eye, and we have to release the pressure from the back. So we sort of gave him that support, got the ophthalmology in. They took them to theatres as well, did some further surgeries and stuff as well. But I think, from my understanding, he lost his eyesight.
Oh, God. It's just in that specific eye, so he's only got one eye that works now.
Yeah.
Imagine you've got to make a decision in that moment, don't you?
Yeah.
You've got to make a decision. Like, you say how do you save the eye? And that, like, it's all based on how much knowledge you actually have of that issue in the first place. Because if you're a junior doctor or someone that doesn't have someone experienced that can deal with that, what you could make a mistake and then that person loses their eye.
Yeah.
And in this case, obviously, you said he did. But
the only reason I'm sharing it is just to emphasize on the fact that please make wise decisions when you do things like that.
Honestly, some of this stuff as well, like, I mean, I'm going to be that person that goes, I saw 24 hours in A&E, and you see that, but you never see this level, you know, what you've spoken about there, because I doubt they'd air that kind of stuff on there.
You haven't heard what he went through in lockdown.
Was it bad in lockdown?
Like, you know, how many beds was it that were in the corridor?
Oh God, yeah. There was like, I was in Midlands at that time, and we had patients who were waiting for 3 and 4 days as well. And at one point I remember there were about 72 beds, trolleys in the corridor. And they were all still waiting. And there were patients who would go home, have their meals, and then come back, and they would still be in the queue to be seen.
So what is that triage? They're in the
still waiting to be triaged as well.
That's mental.
God.
And most of these people had COVID. That was pretty much before the whole lockdown and COVID started, because they then had to split them. Yeah. And then if you had any sort of COVID symptoms and everything because of isolation, you had to be separated. Right. I've got a question for you. This is actually not on the list because this is something that came up quite a lot when I was in lockdown. I heard a lot about COVID cases being treated. Let's say someone comes in with a condition that wasn't COVID related, but they were dying of something else. Mm-hmm. But if they had COVID, it would go down as a COVID death. Was that the case?
I think when they were calculating the total deaths, if they had COVID on top of what they had, it would be counted together, is what my understanding was as well from that time. Mm. But also a lot of COVID itself had a lot of impact on chronic illnesses as well. So things that would easily recover because of the severity of their COVID symptoms, they were not recoverable, unfortunately, and a lot of people sadly died in that.
Okay, got it. So in a way, then having COVID, it was still put down as a COVID death if you had something that you were going to die from anyway, basically. But if it was something that they might have recovered from, then they didn't, because it's COVID related, then it would be a COVID death as well, basically.
If you didn't have COVID, it wouldn't be a COVID death. But if you had COVID at the time of your diagnosis and your symptoms, it would probably be counted along with the...
Yeah, I'm not a massive conspiracy with COVID. I think COVID was real. You know, I'm not one of those guys.
We don't go
You're...
Yeah, we've had a discussion about this before, but I've definitely I'm not going to go down that road in terms of thinking it's fake or anything like that. But I did hear that a lot of the numbers were bumped up because of other conditions that were potentially cause of the death. That's why I was interested to ask you.
I think that's possibly a misunderstanding in my opinion, because having worked in A&E during COVID time, I know how much of an impact it has put on patients clinically.
Yeah.
And what would be a simple problem was extensively complicated because of the COVID symptoms alongside, because it just made every part of your system so bad. You're talking about conspiracies now. I have had to deal with families who had their parents literally on oxygen, and they would want to take the oxygen off because they thought we were giving them COVID. Yeah. And there was a whole thing.
Because of the fact that you guys are in that environment. Yeah. Is that why?
Yeah, and because they thought it was just a conspiracy and the government is putting chips in you and stuff like that.
Oh my God.
You have no idea how much we had to fight for patients' survivals, fight with family, because in the end, the savers, families, next of kins, and the patients, and if they wanted to decline any of the treatment we were offering. We couldn't say no, but getting them to understand that it is real, it is a problem, you will die if you don't take the treatment was a very challenging time for us.
I mean, I'm not surprised. You guys work long hours, like horrendous shift patterns, not well paid for what it is, to be fair to you, for the job you do. And then to be told by people that, you know, that you're giving them COVID and potentially killing someone they know.
Why?
Like, why would you get into a job like that? To do that? It's bullshit. Like,
I once had an exam in London, and coming back from the exam, I had to take a train, and it was like the train during the COVID time and everything. And they used to do protests in London, if you remember, anti-COVID protests. The COVID isn't real and everything. And there was a whole a group of people who had gone from somewhere down north to London to protest, and it was a family, and then all their friends and everyone, and they had like some leaflets with them as well. And so I got into the train, and I had no idea who was sitting next to and stuff. And then suddenly they started talking about how COVID isn't real and how their campaign was really successful today. And they started talking to me, and they were trying to explain everything to me. And I was just quietly like, "Don't ask me what I do. Don't ask me what I do."
it's awkward, isn't it?
And then one of them randomly asked, like, "What do you do?" I was like, "Oh, I'm a doctor."
Yeah, you're like,
I mean, in that situation, it is awkward when you hear someone, like, I have this as a PT, when someone's giving someone advice for nutrition.
Yeah.
I was like, you like, go low carb, it's better for you. I'm like, just there thinking, why? I'm not going to get involved. I'm not going to get involved because it's not my conversation. But it's fucking annoying.
it is
You
frustrating.
want to get involved and shake these people. And it's like, what are you on about?
Like the mob, though, it is like the mob. When you try to explain anything, like you've had those people who are like trying to take the masks off people. It's hard to explain when there's such this like emotion-driven thought process where they're basically just seeing red permanently. That's all they're seeing. They're never going to see anything else. It's just, this has to change because I believe it's happening. I think we venture into the ADHD world now.
Well,
I think that's
yeah. I was going to finish off something, but it was just to do with footballers out there. Remember, footballers were dying from blood clots. That were taking COVID.
Yeah.
Just very briefly, like it's interesting because I'm not conspiracy nut in that regard when it comes to COVID, right? But sometimes you hear things from the media and they say things like, "Oh, these high level athletes have died of blood clots and have been taking COVID," and then you can't unhear that. You can't think, well, what is it that's caused the blood clot? They were perfectly healthy, or at least that's what it seemed like on paper, and then they get COVID and they take a vaccine and suddenly they're dead. And that's the thing that like sometimes makes me think, like, people, like doctors and medical profession needs to answer those things that come up so that the conspiracy doesn't build ground. Do you know what I mean? Yeah,
the COVID infection in itself puts you at high risk of developing clots in your body, and it's one of the leading causes of all the symptoms that you were getting from COVID was because it was forming clot in your vessels and then giving you secondary sort of problems.
Yeah.
And it was a very common sort of problem during COVID. But also I think there was one of the 3 or 5 vaccines that we initially got, the British one.
Yeah.
I think, or the European one, that was the one.
AstraZeneca.
Yeah, I can't quite remember because I don't want to.
yeah.
But it was, the studies came out that it was causing more clots than the rest of them, and then they had to kind of stop it.
But you think how rapid that
the thing is it had to be driven out so quickly without much studies, which is completely understandable because we did not want what happened during the Spanish flu sort of time. We didn't want half of the world's population to die again. So we wanted a solution as quickly as possible, and it did try their best, I guess. And then at some point we ended up being like the test subjects as well, because there were bits of it that weren't tested as properly as they would in a normal circumstance.
Yeah.
But we do have to appreciate how many lives we eventually have saved with these things as well, and how normal it has become now. It's just like flu. You get COVID, and then if you're healthy, nothing really happens. But all because of the immunity that we developed in that time.
Well, look, I'm glad we talked about this because I know we weren't planning to talk about COVID today, but let's face it. Whenever we ever met an A&E doctor on this podcast, and whenever we ever talked about COVID,
never.
It's such a big impact on our lives. We've all been through it. We all know people that have died from it, and it's such a good thing. But yes, ADHD.
ADHD.
What is ADHD? Let's talk about it.
Yeah, I think in general, in simple terms, a person who has either hyperactivity, impulsivity, or inattention in at least 2 different environments, and that is affecting their personal life or their just life in general, is what I would say ADHD is. It's a very vast sort of diagnosis. There's a lot of things to it. And it's also a very difficult and often misdiagnosed sort of problem as well, as you would have probably known and what you've seen. And a lot of people, like adults in particular, the main problem they end up with is procrastination, a lot of forgetfulness and inattentiveness would be one of the leading sort of problems that they start looking into it.
There's different types of ADHD, right? From based on what you just said.
Yeah.
Like I've read somewhere about 7. I'm not if that's.
Yeah, I think there's 7, but you can generally divide them into 2. One is the hyperactive, and then the other one is the attention deficit, and then the third one is combined.
Yeah. Because I think if we think of ADHD, we think of the kid in school like flicking the pen around and fidgeting and being an absolute knobhead.
That's the knobhead, though.
Yeah,
it's the knobhead.
But they're often the ones that they said, because I remember in school, like there's this kid and he said he had ADHD and he was just an absolute knobhead. He was just angry all the time, just like getting frustrated, throwing things, always fidgeting. And that's what I think when I think ADHD. I think that obviously it's different.
Oh yeah.
There's adults out there that don't have those characteristics. But I'm interested about ADHD and the role of dopamine because we briefly spoke about it. I looked at this on the Andrew Huberman's podcast about how low dopamine individuals can display a lot of ADHD traits.
Yeah, I'll firstly get back to what you said about the kids and stuff. So I think what we need to understand is that ADHD is not just you look at these 3 things and you say that this is ADHD. It's a whole diverse rainbow of symptoms, and you kind of need to do the full assessment, make sure that they've got one or more of these symptoms. And then you need to look at how it is affecting them as well. Because a lot of these symptoms, just like a lot of other mental health problems as well, they are a bit of a normal trait as well. We get depressed sometimes, but then we have a way to cope with it. We get anxious sometimes, but we have, as an ideal normal person without these issues, they have a way to cope with it. Similarly, we have symptoms of ADHD in ourselves sometimes. We get impulsive sometimes. We get attention deficit sometimes. But we have ways to cope with it. But the problem with ADHD people is they struggle to cope with it. And the simplest way to explain it is that nobody knows how it happens. They've done some researches. And with the neurosciences, what they've discovered is there's a few things that they think might be doing it, and one of them is, as you mentioned, dopamine. So it's mainly another one of our transmitters called noradrenaline. So noradrenaline and dopamine kind of go in hand, and they really help you with your sort of getting a message from one neuron to the other. So neurons have a way to high-five each other, and they have a ball in between their hands that they can pass to the other hand as well. And that little ball is the dopamine that you need. And then the space in between those neurons is what I would say is where the dopamine sits. So it needs to go from one tail to the other tail for it to take the message. In a normal person, they have a very balance. I don't know how many of normal people we have these days. But
what's normal, man?
I don't know what normal is anymore. But in an ideal person, you would have a very baseline level of all the neurotransmitters that you need in your body, and then they go up and down as you need them. But with the people who have ADHD, they found that their neurotransmitters, in particular the noradrenaline and dopamine, they are a bit low compared to the rest. And therefore, the message that goes from one tail to the other in the neurons is struggling to pass. And that's when you start to get these symptoms. And then that's when you start chasing things that help you increase your dopamine. Or, in other words, what I would say is, if you are interested in something and if it makes you happy and you know that you're going to naturally get some dopamine, you'd be very easily persuaded to do it. you won't be attention deficit in it. And if you aren't interested in things, you would struggle. Ideally, an ideal person would struggle as well in those tasks, maybe, but they will have ways to cope with it. And sometimes, it's just a simple word, it is what it is sort of thing, would just persuade them to do it. Mm-hmm. But the people who lack the dopamine, the people who have those deficiencies, they unfortunately cannot get through to that.
I find that really interesting because, again, I think a lot of people, it's a very common buzzword. Somebody being like, a bit of ADHD for me, isn't it? It's now become a term to describe situations. And like early on, my partner was like, I feel like you've got ADHD. And I sat there and went, regardless if I've got it or not, it doesn't change my personality traits. And even when mum turned around, she was like, no, I don't think you got ADHD. I think you're just genuinely a little bit kind of excitable. And I'm like, but I think it's hard when you say that defines it, doesn't it? That says actually a lot of the people, and primarily a lot of younger kids now, are turning around and be like, I've got ADHD. Like it's a flex. Yeah. Like it's to be like, oh, it's cool. Do you find that quite a lot when you've got people you speak to about that?
Yeah, I think so. As I said earlier as well, it's a wide variety of symptoms, but it's also a spectrum. Just like your other neurodivergent problems like autism, it's a spectrum. You can have a mild sort of symptoms where you can cope by yourself, or you can have severe symptoms where you would struggle to do your day-to-day sort of things as well. And depending on your levels, you can manage. And they might be right. Yes, you may have ADHD, but it's not just the traits. It's not just one situation. As I said, you have to be assessed properly in two different environments, like your workplace and your home, or your school and your home. And you have to have problems on both places, not just one place. And that's when you sort of end up diagnosing it.
Isn't the wait list like 2-3 years now for diagnosis?
It is, but there is a way around it.
Okay.
So it's called right to choose. So a lot of areas and counties have more patients who need diagnosis of ADHD compared to other places where they won't have this many patients. So what NHS has done is they've kind of shook hands with other deaneries, and they've decided that we can share our slots. So you can go to your GP and you can ask to be put on the right to choose thing. And if you do that, you may get seen as early as within 3 months.
Wow. That's really useful for people watching.
Yeah.
There. Because, there's ADHD tests online, obviously. And I'm not saying that these tests are certified. They tell you something. And I've always stayed away from these things. Like, I don't like labeling myself as something, because once you're labeled as it and you feel like a victim to it. But then here's the thing, right? Personality testing. Have you ever done a personality test yourself? Yeah. 16 personality one?
Yeah.
Yeah. What did you get?
What was I? Oh God, I forgot.
ENFP?
Yeah, ENFP.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I say this because I think we had a discussion.
We talked about it.
We did. Yeah. Have you?
I have done it, but I can't remember it.
Yeah, I'm a campaigner. Yeah.
Yeah. So the thing is, though, that's the thing that spiraled me into thinking whether I had it or not. Yeah. Because I remember the traits of that personality type having similarities to someone with ADHD. Now, I'm interested to know if that maybe is ADHD more of a personality trait, or is it an actual medical development of the brain, something that has been developed that is not normal and is detrimental to someone's life.
So first thing, you don't develop ADHD. It's a problem by birth. You would be ADHD as a child as well. You may cope better, and then you get a late diagnosis. But you can't not have ADHD as a child, and then when you're older, you just say, I've just developed ADHD. That's not how it works. It's a by birth thing. It just goes with you. And they've done some neuro investigations, and in one of the scans, they found that there's 4 parts of our brain that sort of work together to help us with our communication, with our day-to-day tasks, and help us build our personalities. So it's your frontal cortex. I'm sorry, I'm cheating because I keep forgetting.
Go on.
It's your frontal cortex, your limbic system, your basal ganglia, and your what we call RAS, reticular activating system, in the back. So these are what makes humans in general intelligent and emotional compared to other mammals. And they combine together. They found out that the people who had ADHD were actually having issues in these parts of the brain when they did the scans. And that's where the dopamine and norepinephrine are needed to kind of make those connections as well. And then the first three are mostly your emotional intelligence, your rational thinking, and all those sort of things, and task focusing and stuff. And then the RAS system is like it's pathways. It's your brain to body sort of connections. And if you lack with dopamine and norepinephrine, the messages don't pass through, and that's when you end up with what we call task paralysis, where you know that you have to do it, but you just can't get yourself to do it.
So in other words, procrastination.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. It's often you would find that ADHD people are labeled as lazy. It's not that they're lazy. It's just that they just physically cannot get themselves to do it, because the system isn't working the way it would in an ideal person.
Yeah, and I mean, we've all been procrastinated, haven't we? Where you're sitting there and you've got 10 tasks in your head and you just think in your head like, I've got to do that one, but I've got to do that one. Which one do I do? And then you just keep thinking about it. You don't do anything about it.
Yeah.
It's like ping pong.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can I ask
It's
a
tough.
question actually regarding that? Do you find people with ADHD struggle with a thing called like transitional states? So going like where we are sat on the sofa now, if I turned around and asked you and went, can you get something out of the fridge? That transitional state between getting up and going, do they tend to struggle with that kind of thing?
Definitely, yeah. Definitely. That would be one of those task paralysis things, because if you're not getting some add-on dopamine with what you're about to do, unless you're going to the fridge to get that dessert that you really like, you would struggle.
How do you get around that?
I think, yeah, so that would, I think, take us to the whole management of ADHD. And there's a few ways to do it. So starting from self-management, going to getting some non-medical help, and then ending up with the medical thing. So I think self-management is one of the best things you can do to start with, while you, at least if you've put yourself on the list to be seen and assessed, because by the time you see them, you might actually find out that you've figured out how to fix yourself as well. So there's a few things you can do, and routine is one of the best things ADHD people can make. So if you have a routine, if you have a timetable, making a list of things you want to do is one of the best things you can do for yourself. And while it's saying it is easy, it might be very challenging doing it as well, but initially you just have to kind of push yourself. And for me, one of the easiest things that work for me in these circumstances is body doubling.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what I do is if I have to prepare for an exam, I ask my friends to just come and sit with me. So, I prepared for an exam recently where one of my friends just sat with me. He was doing his taxes and stuff, and I just sat with him, and I studied so well. But if I was sitting by myself, I would struggle to even open the book.
Interesting.
That's so interesting. I'm so glad. So the reason I asked that question, there is some pretense to it.
Yeah.
My partner, Eleanor, she doesn't mind me talking about this either. She struggles with what she calls transitional states, and she will lay there and she'll be like, I struggle with going from here to here, whereas I'll literally spring up off the sofa and just go do it. And like, when she gets ready to go out, like we all know ladies take a bloody long while to get ready. I'm putting it out there, you take a bloody long while to get ready. She takes so long. However, if I sit in that room and I'm bored and I just want to sit and play on my Switch or something, I'll bring my Switch in, sit on the bed, and she gets ready twice as quick. And that's what you're talking about, isn't it?
Yeah.
Body down. Me physically being there for some reason almost gives her like this kind of accountability to do it. It's bizarre. Genuinely. They just came into my mind. So anyone out there, you got partners who don't get ready in time, just sit on bed with your phone.
It is interesting. Like, this is when you have like team meetings, isn't it?
Yeah.
When you have people work with you on something, it's the same thing.
Yeah, it's sort of like you're sharing your energy with each other.
Yeah.
And then you help each other out this way.
Interesting, man.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Very simple.
Stuff.
Yeah. And then, I mean, one of the best things you can do with your lifestyle adjustment, especially for ADHD, is exercise.
Yeah.
Because that's a massive boost of dopamine you're going to give yourself. Yes, getting to the gym is always hard, but once you get there, you start working out. I always find the first workout to be very challenging. Like, I don't want to do it. And
how's your dopamine, and do you have ADHD first of all? Sorry.
No, I don't. I'm not diagnosed.
Okay. do you think you have it? Do you think you have symptoms of it?
I think, like, if I look into it, I think I have a lot of traits.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do you feel like those traits have somewhat improved since you've been exercising?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
Definitely. There's a lot of things that I would struggle with, including just making like my daily meals. And now I get excited about it because I've really enjoyed the process of calculating my protein and getting my carbs and everything like balanced.
A lot of people don't,
And I
mate.
think
A lot of people don't enjoy doing that.
No,
You are a rare one.
I'm loving it. It's so fun. And then that's like the highlight of my meal prep. Like, how much protein can I put in without adding any calories?
Yeah.
So yeah, so I've actually, like, this is my dopamine for me now. So my hit comes from going to the gym, getting my things done. It's been 3 months. If you saw me 3 months ago, I was very different.
Yeah.
And then similarly, making my meals, getting my stuff ready. I got my bike. I've started. I won't let this little accident stop me. I'm going to get back to my bike.
To be fair, you didn't. You carried on with the gym, which is good because it's what I say to people all the time. Like, you got an injury, you can work around it.
Yeah.
Like, you don't, like, depending on the injury, there always is severe injuries where potentially you can't work around it.
Yeah.
But most of the time you can.
Yeah.
We briefly spoke about dopamine and dopamine with ADHD. There's a thing called dopamine detox, which is where we try and detox the things that are causing a massive rush of dopamine in our body.
Yeah.
Some of the things that are probably most common are excessive gaming, excessive Netflix, excessive porn use, excessive, sugary, fatty foods that can potentially also crash the system. How much of dopamine detoxing have you tried before to help with maybe improving motivation and focus yourself, or with any of ADHD
I'm
traits?
trying to think what I do excessively. I think I personally, I would say I haven't done like excessive of anything except maybe Magic the Gathering.
Great that. Yeah.
Brilliant.
I am not giving up.
That's fair. That's fair.
Sorry. But no, I say that, but I think that's also balanced because I have a lot of hobbies, but I think I have sort of like a good balance between them. And yes, I think that one of the things that I had to kind of slow down a bit was doom scrolling. Because the main problem with doom scrolling is I think it was around 2020, I read this study about how they were using the social media to kind of for it to go viral and stuff. And they said that humans in general have an attention span of about 7 seconds, interest-wise, and then after 7 seconds they start to get bored. And then they suggested that we should make clips of 7 seconds, and then people will watch more content and in turn get you more revenue and stuff. And that's when they started doing these mini clips on TikToks and all these things, the shorts, yeah. So that's, I only recently realized that I actually got addicted to it as well, and I'd been doing hours and hours. So I looked at my phone and then I looked at the time, and I was doing at least like 1.5 to 2 hours every day. And I thought that was too much.
It's a lot in it.
Yeah. So I decided that I knew that it wasn't going to work out if I just went cold turkey. Because then you just like, you stay annoyed the whole day and you don't have that dopamine. So I started doing a bit of like detox in a way that I decided that I would go for 1 hour a day and then 45 minutes a day. And now I've stuck myself to 30 minutes a day, which I think is not too bad.
So what, after half an hour, you just have like a timer?
No. I don't have a timer. I just tell myself.
Okay.
That's the maximum.
That's enough
minute.
today.
And it's the way I do it is, it's not that I'm going to do it all the time. I have like maybe 10 minutes in the morning and 10 minutes in the evening and sometimes a little bit in between.
I mean, it's tough, man. It's tough. I stopped, also caffeine, right? Like, thing is, I had a caffeine-free 30-day challenge. Didn't think it would be that beneficial. I thought maybe I'm just going to have brain fog for a couple of days and then I'm going to feel pretty mellow. Felt amazing. And it's interesting because caffeine can actually improve ADHD as well, apparently, according to Andrew Huberman on his podcast. But excessive caffeine just caused me to jitter and have anxiety and like be overly stimulated when I'm already stimulated.
You're talking to the wrong person here if you want to talk about the not having caffeine. I literally walked in with coffee in my hand.
How many coffees do you have a day?
I think if I'm working, I'd have about 3 coffees. But if I'm not working, I try not to have coffee. We talked about it. I used to have a lot of coffee, but I'm reducing it as much as I can.
Why do you reduce yours?
I think one of the reasons was we talked about it, how it actually affects the rest of the neurotransmitters in your body. Yes, you get that dopamine, but everything else goes low and your cortisol goes really high as well. And that ends up, the reason a lot of people cannot sleep after caffeine is because your cortisol levels go really high, and that gives you anxiety and all those problems as well.
And I mean, cortisol and testosterone as well, for the men out there, like they are in an inverse relationship. When one's high, the other crashes, which is ironic because you've got the testosterone of a jacked bodybuilder, highest levels of testosterone I've never seen in an actual man. I say, get your testosterone levels checked just to make sure that everything's okay, and they come back super high, and it's like, what the fuck?
You're like, okay.
We were thinking of like what I can do to maybe further enhance my sort of progression, because I'm not doing really well at gym, and I don't know why. I think it's
no, that's not entirely true. That's not true. That's not true. This man's getting strong.
So we talked about it, and we thought we'd get a levels checked. So cortisol levels are like balanced, so that's good. That's what I wanted, and he starts her own levels.
Where did you get yours checked, out of curiosity, just so that other people can find out to get theirs?
Just an online sort of. I just googled a few and then found one, and then just picked it up.
There's loads out there, but if you're going to get it tested, don't get just total testosterone. Like, please read into it and get things like SHGB, prolactin. Otherwise, you're just guessing, because your total testosterone level doesn't show anything on its own. Like SHGB, for example, once again, your SHGB levels are very low. If they were high and you had loads of testosterone, then your free testosterone would potentially be quite low. And then if you resolve that. So if you're going to get a testosterone test, please just fucking go for one with all the other things to measure as well. Take that from an ex-bodybuilder that took steroids, and I got this checked. Right? I know your viewpoints on steroids are a little mixed.
I think not mixed, they're just negative.
They're very negative. But what about fat loss jabs? What about fat loss jabs?
I think I would support it for the right people.
Yeah, I think I'm the same with that. We said about this, habit building is the kind of key principle. If it allows people to build habits, I'm game for it. If you're just using it as a coping mechanism, let's have a chat.
Yeah, people seem to think we're shitting on people that take weight loss jabs. We're not.
Like, we had people in the comments, didn't we? When our podcast go in, there
are people that shouldn't take them, and there's people that are by all means would benefit from them.
No, definitely, because like morbid obesity is real. It is a problem. There is a lot of people who have medical problems where they unfortunately end up gaining weight, and then they need help. And then we have a solution for it. So why not take the opportunity and use the solution? But yes, I would always recommend that, like, give yourself like at least 2 to 3 months to kind of do it without it. Do some physical exercises, start with the calorie deficit and everything, and see if that works for you. Because it definitely did work for me.
Exactly.
And then if it's not working, then maybe start considering. I wouldn't suggest it for somebody who wants to lose like 5 pounds to look extra cool. But if somebody has got like maybe 20, 30 extra pounds that they need to lose, and yes, I understand that you don't have the physical capabilities as well at that point, and then you need a bit of support to get to that point where you can kind of look after yourself as well.
The danger I'm seeing with it though is that there are ladies out there in their early 20s that want to lose a few pounds before they go away on holiday, and then all I'm thinking in my head is like, right, let's just say that works, your hair doesn't fall out, and you feel fine, because some people do feel fine taking it, especially at that point. But let's say then the next year comes around and you're thinking, I'll just go back on it again because it worked last time. And then you do it again and again and again. And the nutrient deficiencies just build up and build up.
Yeah, no, that's definitely not how you should use this kind of opportunity. I think it's one of those things. It's a medicine. It's still going to have its side effects. It's still going to have its problems. So use it wisely, and maybe use it the way you should, which is along with physical exertion. Because I have personally known a couple of friends who were getting into that morbid obese sort of phase, and I spoke to them, and one of them took my advice and said, I will try a bit of Wegovy and see if it helps me or not. So they started their medication, but unfortunately they weren't adding the physical sort of part of changes as well. So they weren't doing the exercises. I suggested, why don't you start with maybe 5,000 steps a day and then extend it to 10,000 a day?
You're basically PT.
Step up if you can. I did my best, but they didn't, and eventually nothing happened. They took it for 2 months and they just stopped it because they didn't even lose any weight.
Mate, trust it. Look, you're a doctor saying that. You've got the ultimate authority when it comes to people's health. At least, well, most people that respect doctors' opinion, right? That's why you guys do what you do. They should do, right? As a trainer, it's the same thing. But
Painful as a
even in
trainer.
our industry, they don't listen.
They're like,
People
you're
just
in great
don't
shape
listen.
and you've lost weight.
Yeah.
I'm not going to listen to you. I'm going to listen to this guy online.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Fine.
Anyway, look, let's go back a little bit. This is proper ADHD trait. This is where you go off tangents. But we were talking about dopamine and
Lifestyle adjustment.
motivation.
Yeah.
Like dopamine and motivation. So when I think of dopamine, I'm thinking motivation. Like this is why, for those that don't know, there's a movement called the no fat movement. Have you heard of the no fat movement?
Yeah.
Basically means no porn use, stop wanking off, right? It's supposed to help with the dopamine receptors and make you more motivated in general. And I succumbed to that, well in my early 20s, and I did see some benefit with it. There were some downsides as well. Like obviously we can talk about that. But by improving the dopamine can't really say that word, sensitivity, the motivation improved. Started finding it easier to actually want to go and do tasks that, would otherwise seem boring.
Yeah.
And so let's dive in. Dopamine.
Yeah, I think so coming back to dopamine and how we were talking about the modifications that you can make in your personal life. So sleep is another one of the important things. Having a full 8 hours sleep is very important. And unfortunately, one of the things that ADHD people have is lack of sleep, and getting some help for that. I will come back to this in a minute, but I think magnesium is one of the best things you can do for yourself. And I am a massive advocate of all sort of magnesiums. Like whatever you want to take, just take it. It is good for you. So I will talk a little more about that. But then other things you can do for yourself is diet. So protein and omega-3 and omega-6 fats are the best things for people who need a bit of a better dopamine sort of in their system, especially ADHD people. Well, the studies they've done, they found out, I actually have a study here. One sec. There was the Journal of Lipids where they reported that omega-3 and omega-6 supplements moderately decrease the severity of symptoms of ADHD, mainly hyperactivity and impulsivity. And then they did some additional studies where they found the omegas may improve neural efficacy as well. And then in turn, it will improve your overall sort of cognitive performance. So fats are good for you.
Fats are good.
Fats are
good
good
fats. That is good fats. Yeah, good fats are good for you. Not having a McDonald's every day. That's not what we're saying. Yeah. We're talking getting your avocados in, we're getting your nuts in, we're getting your Brazil nuts in. That
the low fat crowd out there, they're the ones that are in trouble. Yeah.
And then the second thing is protein. So what protein does is so the study, the conclusion of it was it triggers neurotransmitters responsible for inducing the alertness, while carbohydrates were triggering the drowsiness. So the more protein you have, the more alert you would be. The more carbs you have, the more drowsy you would be.
Interesting.
And the more drowsy you are in the day, the less sleep you're going to get at night.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, so you're saying have your carbs at night time?
Don't have carbs.
But you don't make you drowsy.
No,
okay.
They just, what I'm trying to say is that they're gonna cause a bit of imbalance in your neurotransmitters, and that imbalance is further gonna affect your whole.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
that's interesting because I eat a lot of carbs.
Same.
So I'm fucked.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking when I was training for my triathlon this year, I was having 700 to 800 grams of carbs in a day, but I needed it for training.
Yeah.
And I guess if somebody has ADHD and they're training for events like that, it must be quite challenging as well.
it can be made easy.
Go on.
You can have carbs, just add fiber with it, because that balances the absorption of it, and in turn, it gives you that energy that you need, but it also gives you that sort of balance where you don't get that drowsiness or the loss of efficacy.
So we talk about slow releasing carbs included in that as well, or just fiber with it? So for example, like a jacket potato versus wine gums, like surely that would have a benefit.
I mean, you definitely want carbs in your life. You can't just say that I can't have carbs, but what you want is a balance in it.
Yeah.
You can't have a high carb diet and expect to be doing well. I mean, in general, you might have noticed the more sedentary your sort of lifestyle and your diet gets, the worse your mental health symptoms get as well. If you're eating donuts the whole day, you're not going to be happy at the end of the day. I can assure you of that.
Do you know what
you might have that temporary happiness that you get from these sugars, but in the end, you're going to have such a bad crash.
Yeah.
it's going to affect you very negatively.
I can attest to this, by the way. If I have too much sugar, I do feel worse, like mentally. But the thing is, we have like 120 episodes now, podcast episodes, and we always talk about one area of performance and wellness that people experience. And if you just look at having a nice balanced diet with high protein, fiber, slow releasing carbohydrates, get your fats in your diet, healthy fats as well, things fucking fix themselves. Like, all these problems wouldn't exist if you just had a good balanced diet, you were active, and you played a few games with your boys on the weekend and didn't overdo it.
But that's not sexy, mate. That's not sexy, unfortunately. That's not the world.
If you want to be sexy.
But if we sit here and go, don't eat carbohydrates, they fuck you up, everyone's going to be like, oh my God.
That's what you just did.
Well, yeah, that's what you did.
Don't worry.
Attack balance them.
You can't hate this man. He's got pugs on his socks.
Yeah,
right?
it's true.
You can't hate this man.
This is true. But that's the thing, isn't it? Like, with the world of information, you probably battle with it so much. Like, do you have people come to you into your consultations and they genuinely try to battle back against the advice you've given?
Oh, all the time.
What's some of the worst you've had?
Well, I can't think of any at the moment, but in general, like, the main thing is, if it goes against their lifestyle, or if they don't want to make that modification, they would give you so many justifications to it. Like, yeah, but I don't have to, because I've been just fine without it as well.
But I'm like, but that's not the point. That's not why you're here.
Yeah.
I will try and have that explanation.
Sounds like clients that I get. I'm like, wait, what? I've got to do calorie tracking? Yes, mate. Make your life easy.
Yes, make your life easier, track what you're doing. And like, one of the big things is, and I'll kind of add this in there, what doesn't get measured doesn't get managed. So like, we were just talking a little bit about dopamine detoxes. I am a man of numbers. I need quantitative data. Otherwise, I have no fucking clue what's going on. Nick knows this because he sees it all the time on my spreadsheets. But like, when it comes to dopamine detoxing, one thing I do is I have a non-social Saturday. So Nick knows this because he can't get hold of me. I block all of my socials, my WhatsApp, my Instagram, my TikTok, my Facebook. I can't go on them. I can't access them. I use an app called Opal. Opal, please sponsor us. And I go on Opal, and basically that blocks all of my apps, but it has like this and weirdly enough, a 7-second breathe window. You use it occasionally too.
What, Opal?
Opal, yeah.
Yeah, I used it ages ago.
But it has a 7-second breathe window. Now, I don't know if that's to do with the attention span that you spoke about. Is that 7 seconds of like cognitive deloading almost? Because I'm sitting there, I'm like, I just want to pause this. No, I don't now. I'm done. I'm bored. But having that measurement to say I have a Saturday every week that's a detox allows me to then say, actually, I'm doing something to further it. Do you think there's like more of a quantitative way that people could try to help improve their ADHD symptoms?
I think the best way is a routine. Just making sure that you have a good routine on how you're gonna sort of spend your days. And I think my life got a lot easier in general. And I keep saying my life. I'm not diagnosed ADHD, but I feel like it might help you if you try and do this. Is I make a schedule for my weekends as well, like what I'm gonna do, and it always helps me. And then where I have free slot, I just add a bit of magic to it. Whether I build or whether I go in place.
Yeah, sensible.
But you use Google Calendar, is it?
Sorry? Yeah, I use Google Calendar.
It's useful, isn't it?
It's very useful.
Do you know what? I get a lot. I train a lot of people that are super busy, including yourself and some other people that come to the gym. And I've actually found that every time I ask them to show me your calendar, they haven't got one. And I'm like, what the fuck?
Can't live without it.
How could you live without a calendar, man? Like, even if you're not ADHD, even if you're just a normal being, normal, logical.
My calendar's actually like really funny. Like, you've seen the calendar before, but what I usually do is there's a lot of like, you've seen those tick boxes on my calendar as well.
Oh yeah.
What's a tick box?
It's my way. So the red tick boxes are when I have to water my plants.
Yeah. this man's got a bonsai too.
So that specific day is saying I have to water my plants on that day.
So I do it once a week.
Yeah.
And then at the moment I'm doing it 10 to 14 days a week. So I just, look at when I did it last time, and then I, after the week has passed, I'd water my plants, and the tick is I've done it.
That's so cool.
I mean, that makes so much more sense, because again, that's kind of going back to what we were just talking about quantitative. You've done quantitative.
Yeah, the writing water your plants is probably gonna make me a bit more neurotic about it, and I might not end up doing it.
Your neuroticism is like another topic entirely. Do you know what about the routine though? Yeah. Like, there is something where you can have too much. Like, for example, I have tried by minute, like block out every single part of my day so I know exactly what I'm doing, and it is torture.
Yeah.
Like there's too much of a thing as well with routine, I think.
Yeah.
And also there's too much of a thing with to-do lists. Like when your to-do list is growing by 5 tasks every day and you're only doing 4, it's paralyzing.
Yeah.
So
just have a like one day every other week where you don't do anything. That's what I do.
yeah.
I just binge watch a whole show in a day.
Yeah.
Sit down and do that. And I think if I've had a very nice couple of weeks and I've done all my tasks, I'm up to date with everything. I think I can give myself that sort of day, couldn't I?
Yeah. Stranger Things season 4.
True.
5,
yeah. 5.
Yeah,
Question though, you're a shift worker yourself.
Yeah.
How do shift workers build routine if they might be susceptible to symptoms of ADHD?
I think it would definitely affect them negatively, but again, I'd say I've said this before, and I would say the same thing. It's a spectrum, and it depends on how well you're able to cope. Because a lot of A&E in general, I think a lot of A&E physicians have some level of neurodivergence. Otherwise, you can't do this kind of job. So a lot of us, like, we joke around and we talk to each other and say, like, definitely we've got ADHD with things. But that's like or we need that short-term sort of attention span where we can have a quick think, know what to do, but none of us can do long-term sort of things. One of the reasons I joined A&E, was because I know that I cannot stand in a ward round.
Yeah.
When they do that 2.5 hour ward round in a department, I get so agitated with that.
What'd you say that was? A walk around?
Yeah, so we call it a ward round, where you start with the first patient and you have 20 patients and you're going to walk around with a consultant and talk about what's wrong with them, what you can manage, how you can manage it. And then the team makes a decision together and stuff like that. And it's a good thing for, sort of ongoing problems when you're sort of providing them treatment, or if the treatment isn't working. But A&E is like, you need to give them the initial treatment that they need, stabilize them, and then they go to those wards where they get that.
So it's quite quick for you, isn't it? It's like, how long would you say a patient stays in A&E for?
In an ideal world, they shouldn't stay more than 4 hours.
Okay.
This is the Royal College's sort of standard for us, that a patient shouldn't stay more than 4 hours. And so the trusts, they get fined if the patient stays more than 4 hours, and the fine is worse if the patient stays more than 8 hours in A&E.
You get fined?
Yeah, the trust gets fined.
Man, that's mental.
But like I guess
they have
fine for trying to help someone.
On top of this whole actual patient pressure, they have a pressure from upstairs as well, where they would get fined if they have a patient overstay.
Do you find that's helpful or not helpful? So
helpful in a way that we can convince other people to start moving patients forward so we can get the other patients the treatment that they need, and not helpful in a way that this pressure is on our head as well.
Yeah,
we have to get it sorted ASAP.
Oh yeah, it's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
As we spoke about earlier, like the pressure of the fact that you're in 12-hour shifts.
Yeah.
As well. Tired.
Not 12-hour anymore, luckily, for me, at least. Yeah. I do somewhere between 9 to 11 hours.
Underpaid, meanwhile, train operators are getting paid bigger rises than you guys. Makes no sense to me, mate.
But we could go into the politics of it, but mate, we're not going to.
Yeah, we're not going to. But
I'm not going to talk about it.
Yeah. We're not going to go into that. But ADHD, what are some of the things that you've noticed? Like, I know you said that you've got symptoms, you haven't been diagnosed, but what are some of the superpowers that someone potentially with neurodivergence might have? Let's say ADHD might actually have.
I think this just brings me back to this, the hyperactivity where you can do the quick things more easily, or things that interest you. And I think one of the things that, anybody with ADHD should think about is pick if you're in school or college or uni, pick the major that you enjoy, not what you need to do. And then similarly, job-wise, pick what you would enjoy. Yeah. Like, you would see, like, a lot of people say that, the inattentive people, they see them that they can doom scroll for days and they won't get tired, but then they can't do tasks. And similarly for telly and stuff. And a lot of times, parents do complain that, my child is always watching telly and he won't do anything. But this also goes for a lot of, you might have seen a lot of children who are really into arts and stuff. and they would do really well with arts, and they would spend hours and hours doing arts, and similar goes for gamings and stuff like that as well.
Yeah.
And it's not because it's just the side thing, but this is what they're interested in. So maybe start thinking about looking into those kind of career options rather than putting them into like pressurizing them to do
finding a
what's
career.
normal for
Finding a career that works
people.
for you is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Do you, oh man, the podcast with Andrew Huberman regarding ADHD, he spoke about, this is obviously something that I'm just paraphrasing, okay, because so you have to go to the podcast itself. But he was saying that if you take Adderall, when you're a kid and you've got ADHD, you can grow up to become normal, basically. You can actually grow out of ADHD, but if you take this medication as an adult, there are no changes to your brain's development. Have you ever heard of that?
So your the prefrontal cortex, the front of your brain, it sort of develops with age.
Yeah.
So it does develop with age, and it mainly starts to mature around 25 sort of years, and then there is a lot of personality changes that happen before, and then they start to sort of solidify after that point. So yes, there could be some truth to it. I haven't read much into it, so I won't be able to give you a solid answer.
Yeah, that's fair.
But it does make sense to me.
Is this why they say that
just that
if you smoke weed when you're a kid, like let's say 17, 18, teenager, your brain, like it's dangerous for your brain to do it when you're younger versus say you're 25 and over, potentially you could get away with it? So is that kind of on the same kind of thinking? In terms of your brain development, having it too young can make your... No?
just don't smoke weed.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say
Speaking of weed and stuff like that, so substance in particular is very dangerous for people with ADHD.
Yeah.
Because it's the main thing you get from any sort of substance and alcohol is loads of dopamine. And that's the free dopamine that you've sort of been looking for. So a lot of ADHD people have what we call an addictive personality. So it's not just these things. Anything that gives you the hit of dopamine, you'd get addicted to it very easily. So avoiding it as much as you can.
I know you're massively anti-drug, and that's fair. Like, you know, like everyone's should avoid, to be fair, taking anything that's hard drugs.
What it does to you and the worst of it.
I would not
always be very much against it.
Yeah. No, I'd agree with you completely. I mean, like, I always hold my hands up and say, I used to do drugs at uni. And I'm open about that because I look back on it now and go, I'm almost glad that I've grown out of it, because you don't understand the damage until later down the line. I would literally, I'm sorry, mum and dad, you probably know this anyway, but I would get through like 3 grams of MDMA in a week comfortably. Like, it wouldn't even bother me.
That's a lot of MDMA.
And I'd be saying, oh, it's fine because it's cheaper than drinking. But then neurologically, like, I noticed when I started to come away from it, I just couldn't think. I couldn't remember half the things that were going on. Like, it became this kind of like weird synthetic feeling inside me. I was like, I should have this. And that's that addictive personality that kind of started to kind of manifest.
You take weed, for example, right? When you smoke weed, it relaxes you. You can often feel more creative, and like doesn't feel anything wrong with it, right? But then after years, you look back and you think, I can't remember anything in those years.
No.
And I was very unproductive. Things were kind of crumbling around me. I didn't even realize. And then you start putting 2 and 2 together, and you're like, shit, weed really sucks. Plus drugs. I don't know about the MDMA, but like when you do drugs and you take them for a little while, when the thought of taking them makes you anxious, or it makes you paranoid about the way you act when you're on them, and then you don't want to go down that road. And I think if you've done drugs in the past and you've got out of that stage, fucking amazing, you know. Like, now you can learn to never do that again. But like, tell everyone else what you felt and try not to get them on it.
I once tried smoking a cigarette and I coughed my lungs out. That's the worst I've done in my life.
Instant cancer, right? Yeah.
You're fucked.
Instant cancer, right?
Fuck my 3 grams of Mandy. You're ruined my brain.
Wait, very quickly though, based on that topic, why some people get to the end of their life at 90 years old, they smoke 40 a day, they just die in their sleep peacefully, and then someone who smokes 1 cigarette has cancer? It doesn't make fucking sense.
I don't know, maybe they're just built better.
It doesn't make sense.
I argue though they probably had a better diet than what we have now.
I'm referencing my grandpa and my grand.
And I think there's a lot to do with, it's not just the smoking, it's the habits that come with it as well.
Yeah.
And a lot of people kind of succumb to other habits as well as they start smoking. So it's just not just the cigarettes, there's a lot of other things you're doing as well alongside. And then
You see Russia's releasing their cancer vaccine.
Are they?
Yeah. Free to the world.
Oh, nice.
Just so you know, guys.
There we go. Cancer vaccine.
Cancer vaccine, you heard it here. Russia has
Cancer's not a virus.
Russia has apparently created a cancer vaccine. That's what they call it.
It's not a virus, but I would understand how it would work.
Oh, how it would benefit.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is some, it's a very wide topic.
We're not going to dive into this, but maybe another one. We'll come back on for cancer talk. How about that?
Let me just grab the wheel.
I think we do the wheel, yeah.
I'm going to get wheel.
The wheel of ADHD. This is why the wheel works well today, because we can have pure, unadulterated, hyperactive wheel responses. Welcome to the wheel.
Still need a jingle.
Welcome to the wheel.
That's the jingle. Done.
This is done.
Yeah.
Well, there, guys, this is the wheel of fortune.
See, I still haven't hit puberty.
Overrated, underrated. This is for focus and motivation. All right.
Okay.
So that's the topic. Now you're gonna roll this bad boy, and then you're gonna start off with what you think. Underrated, overrated. You can explain a little bit around it. Ready?
Do you want to spin? Yeah.
Give it a spin.
Take his face off while you do it as well.
One day.
Oh, I'm so glad.
Yeah.
Lo-fi music.
Definitely underrated. I think it helps a lot with your attention, especially if you use it as your background sort of noise.
I want to say underrated, but I get bored and then I don't want to do any work. So I think it's overrated.
I find it so good. It's how I study. And like, same thing. I combined that with me and Eleanor. She was doing some studying for her course and I was sitting doing some work. We put lo-fi music on. So she had the body doubling and that she's never been so productive in all her life. It's mad.
I would say just no music.
No, I can't do it with no music. No.
It's weird.
You know how I've prepared for most of my exams? I used to sit in McDonald's with their music in the background.
Really?
Yeah.
What even do you have in the background?
I know, I mean, that's all I do.
The Mackie D jingle.
What are you going for?
Nootropics. Overrated.
What do you think?
I think lifestyle factors are more important, and then maybe add nootropics on top.
Yeah, I think I would be very neutral to it. Can I be neutral?
You can be what you want.
You can be neutral, yeah. I would say I would go with underrated purely because I personally feel a difference and I argue that if the placebo effect is a positive effect, then it's working. It's kind of how I see it. So like I'll have lion's mane. I feel like I focus better.
People who I know who have tried it are very happy with it and I'm sort of very close to trying it for myself as well. Yeah. So I kind of like, maybe if we do another podcast, I'll tell you if it's
tell me if it works or not.
Neutral at the moment.
I mean, do it. Ginkgo biloba is supposed to be good. Get the blood flow going.
I'm thinking of lion's mane.
No, that's what I use. I use lion's mane and ashwagandha.
Yeah, lion's mane, ashwagandha,
Reiki mushroom.
Yeah. But mate, the fucking protein works AI Greens has all of that.
Yeah, it does.
I am a massive fan of like mushrooms and mushroom derivatives and what you get from mushrooms. Well, that too, because psilocybin is actually, if you microdoses, it's actually very good for your mental health.
I actually,
but the thing is, the studies are not like there and conclusive yet.
What are the long-term effects of microdosing?
I don't know.
Magic mushrooms though. I don't know, man.
I think it needs to be investigated further.
I don't know. This is spinning too well today.
I know, I like it. Giving me dopamine. Diet! Hydration!
That's annoying.
Definitely underrated. Yeah. Everything gets better with hydration.
100%. Like even when you know the body's 70% water, it's just like fucking give water to it.
You got to water your brain.
You got to water the plants. You got to water your body.
Yeah, this just makes me think of all the posts that you often see from patients who go home and then post that I went to my doctor and all he said was take paracetamol and drink lots of water. I could have thought of it myself. But why didn't you think of it yourself?
This is what you do when your girlfriend says she's got a problem. It's like, have you drunk some water?
Yeah. And they're like, I have drunk some water. I'm like, how much water, darling?
You got a headache? You drunk water?
Yeah. And normally it solves it, weirdly enough. Right, do you want to go again?
Go on, sir. God, it takes ages now, doesn't it?
Yeah. Cold showers.
Cold showers.
Cold showers.
You guys I want to hear you guys first.
Cold showers, underrated, overrated. Focus. Overrated.
If we're talking just specifically for focus, underrated, because in the presence of the shower, you're going to be solely focusing on that one, like, it's cold, it's cold, it's cold. So then when you get out, you get that massive spike in blood flow because your blood vessels go.
True. But you can just meditate and get the same thing. You can breath work and do the same. Because breath work, when you're in a cold shower, you're using breath work to keep yourself warm.
Yeah.
And keep yourself focused. So like breath work is the fucking thing. So why do the thing that you could do the thing that actually creates the
Some people need the thing to do the thing.
Yeah.
Well, then you're just fucked, guys. Like, I'm saying, make your life complex. Just fucking do the thing. Like, honestly, I see people trying to make things complex all the time. It's like, just do the thing.
Simplify it. Well, it's like you said, like, well, the main thing you said was balanced diet, bit of movement, look after yourself. Is essentially like the concept of the conversation.
Yeah. I'm going to say underrated because it kind of helps me.
Watch out.
What I do is I do very hot showers, and then what I do is I finish it with like 10, 15 seconds.
That's the James Bond.
That's
my James Bond shower, that is.
My brother does that. He does exactly that. And I was like, why the hell are you doing this? Just have a nice shower. But it makes sense. I get it. Because you open up the blood vessels.
Yeah. Yeah. So in the end, when I come out, I think I feel a bit more energetic, a bit more focused.
I mean, you will. That's fair enough. You will feel more energetic because it's fucking cold, mate.
Helps. Am I right in saying it helps with blood shunting?
Yeah.
So like, because you open up the blood vessels and rapidly closing it, it's like having a massive bulldozer which just drives the blood to the brain.
Right.
Alright, hold on.
What's that say?
Pomodoro timer.
Pomodoro timer.
So,
Okay. So,
what do you think? Underrated, overrated?
this is going to be overrated again.
Why?
Just because I've done it. I've used them. They're not like.
Oh, you're on about the actual physical timers?
Yeah. I've used a Pomodoro timer, and honestly, it's okay. There is something about having a strict timeline. Like if you decrease the time it takes to have to do something, you often do it, and it can help with the focus. But there's so much talk about it being the only fucking like one of the best ways of doing it, and I just don't think that's true. Like sometimes you just got to get up and do stuff. Hormozi is one such entrepreneur. Like as we know, he's a. Do you know who Hormozi is? Okay. Entrepreneur, absolutely killing it. He works all the time. I don't believe he should work all the time, but he does. He literally just gets up in the morning and gets out of bed and starts working.
There's a coffee, doesn't he? And that's it.
And that's it. There is no fucking build up. It's just doing the work. There's no timer. There's no this. Like, this is the shit that I keep talking about. It's just like, get up and do it. Do the thing. Like, why do you have to keep building up a story around about doing the thing? That's procrastination. Like, it's just trying to build up this story and get yourself ready for something. Just do it.
What do you think about Pomodoro timer?
I say underrated though.
Does it help you?
It definitely helps me.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I'm going to weigh in on this. So I'm going to say, I have to go neutral here because it can be, like you said, it can be beneficial. However, Cambridge University study came away from the Pomodoro method and said actually that I don't know if you've seen this, 52 minutes is the ideal time for optimum focus in humans. So their neurology department did a study on it. Then you need a 17-minute break where you go and do something completely separate from your work. And apparently that maintains the greatest level of focus.
That's interesting because I actually saw something about everything's in a 90-minute cycle. And it's supposed to be like a polyphasic like style of how we work in our sleep. We have these 90-minute cycles. Yeah. They say we also have these 90-minute wake cycles where we can work really well 90 minutes and then we have to have a 20-minute break.
Yeah, but it's like whatever number works for you. I set time as if I can't focus.
That's the thing though. It's one person and one study saying one thing. And this is the problem. There's so much confusion around it. Why don't you just do the fucking thing?
If it helps you do the thing, do the
fucking thing.
Right, one more spin.
Yeah. Because otherwise you're just going to like circle jerk around all day and be like, oh, this is the best method. It's like.
We can keep going. Go back the other way. But the other way. Dopamine detoxing. Underrated.
Yeah, underrated. I mean, yeah.
I agree.
Depending on the community, because in the dopamine detox community, it's very well rated, because obviously those guys understand it. Yeah. But in the larger context of everything, dopamine detox is so phenomenally powerful. And the thing with dopamine detox as well, it's massively boring, and that's the whole point. Yeah. It's getting used to boring. It's getting used to the fact that everything is boring, so then everything else suddenly gets colour again. Yeah. It's like looking at the world going from grayscale into suddenly it's all colourful. It's like, shit, life is actually pretty good.
What do you think?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Right. I think we wrap up there, my dudes. I think it's been a really good podcast. Right. Fahad, if you would like to plug anything, you're welcome to plug away. Is there anything you'd like to plug at all? Like your Instagram, where to find me in A&E? Say hello to me. If not, it's
I haven't got anything that famous. So
cool.
yeah.
Well, if you see Fahad around and you're in A&E, say hello to him.
What's your Instagram? Fahad.
Fahad.o.dod.
No, sorted.
Follow this guy.
Make sure to check out our previous episode with Jack and Kate. It was a superb episode to tune in. And also one new thing that we've added in recently is to help with the production and running costs of the podcast. We now have a donation link. So if you guys want to help and donate, you're more than welcome to. Hopefully when we hit that mighty 1,000 subs, we can get a members scheme going and do some member only videos. All right. Catch you later, guys. Thank you.